end of SERE school.
Flappy.
And, we're done evading. Everyone that's evading, whether you successfully evade or not, like, you eventually get put on a truck. You don't know it, but you kind of have a sense that, like, generally speaking, SERE is only so many days long. The last 3 or 4 days, I'm going to spend in a camp. So you kind of know this time when I get on a truck that's supposed to move me from one part to the next, it's probably going to end up at SERE school and not at my next rendezvous location. So I can hear the gunfire outside the truck. I'm like, yeah, all right. I knew this was coming. They pulled me out and they asked, like, hey, what's name and social security number? And sign here, whatever they're asking me to do. And then I was basically, no, I ain't going to give that to you. And he goes, are you sure? I can give that to you. And this 6'6" black man, probably 230, 40 pounds, a large man, slaps me with an open hand that might as well have been a closed hand. And it rocked me. It rocked me. And I remember going, I underestimated that. That slap really hurt. And then he goes, you want to give me the information now? But not enough to break me. I said, nah, no, sir. I'm not going to give you that information. And he slaps me again in the same exact spot. Here's something else as a man. You probably know this as well. You ever been slapped in the same spot twice in your face? Probably not. It's a weird thing to ever have happened to you. Maybe you've had an abusive girlfriend. That's a story for another time. I have not. The first one hurt. The second one felt worse than the first one.
Na surowo.
By the time he hit me the third and the fourth time in my face, I said, where do you want me to sign?
Tatary.
I've underestimated this whole experience. Where do you want me to sign? And I share yourself sign. And there are other times where guys will think that hey, you can't
Tatarek
slapping.
Na start.
And they're super creative. And they'll just go pick your friend. And they'll just slap on your friend and tell you, it's because of you. And they'll just keep slapping your friend. Your friend eventually is going to look up at you like, why are you doing this to me?
Tego 100 gram boczku, fajnie pokrojonego do sałaty. Byście nie mówili, że królik jestem. Kurde.
They'll find a way to break you. But more importantly, what SERE was really, really good about, SERE was amazing. And SERE really, if you want to find out what you're made of, what you're really made of, go to SERE. You think you'll never break? I got slapped a couple times. I signed a paper. You think you'll never break? Just slaps. Have your friend get slapped 30 times in front of you. Start bleeding from the mouth. And you're like, well, maybe not. You don't think you'll break? Have them wheel out an American flag in front of you.
Ja wszystko trochę oliwy z oliwek.
Not. They're going to take your best friend in 30-degree weather, and they're just going to keep spraying him with cold water while he's shaking so hard.
Z pierwszego tłoczenia.
And you can make it all stop. Just burning your flag. You talking about some serious mind games? They'll break you.
Po co mam iść do roboty?
And all for the best reasons.
Ja tutaj na YouTubie robię.
I'll talk about this later again. I'm a huge advocate about reading books and putting yourself in situations before you're in those situations.
Nie stać mnie na koszulkę.
I don't care if it's a combat reconnaissance mission. I don't care if it's POW. You need to put yourself in those situations before you're in them because you're not going to make the best decisions on a snap, on a snap decision when you're in the middle of the toughest time of your life. Part of the problem with that kind of scenario is, well, how am I supposed to imagine a situation that I've never been in? Well, that's where reading books comes in. Those guys were in those situations. And hopefully they're writing a book now to tell you what they would have done different.
Czemu szkoda?
Or they'll tell you, what a scenario looks like in that situation through writing the book. And you actually do have enough information now to make it.
Najpierw wszedł.
What they're telling you is you'll die for that flag, sure.
Tatar z Wołowinki.
You want to go home and see your family? is that flag, is you
To na deser sałata z oliwą
under
i z
duress
boczkiem.
being made to burn that flag. Is that worth losing your life for? I got 4 kids. You got any kids? You got your mom and dad. You're on a school trip to Russia. I don't know why you would be. And you get detained, and they say, "Hey, we also got your parents. We're going to kill your parents unless you burn this flag." That's a crazy situation to be in. One, it's your country.
A jeszcze
At the end of the day, it's threads.
dodamy
You
rybkę,
know, is that worth more than your parents' life?
śledzika,
At the end of the day, there's no right answer to
pomidorka.
What they want you to realize is if you ever have to make this decision,
I jeszcze to dodamy do tego
at least
wszystkiego.
you've thought about this decision and you knew it was worth you. What would be absolutely worse is to one, either scenario is horrible if you haven't thought it out. Burn the flag out of weakness, wish you never would have burned the flag and have to live it for the rest of your life. Or two, just as bad, say you'll die for that flag, die for it, and then, as if you could, or maybe right before you die, you go, maybe this wasn't worth it. I sure wish I'd seen my kids one more time. This wasn't worth it. It was a great eye-opener into what are you really putting on the line here. And they'll tell you, at the end of the day, it's your decision. What they really want you to consider and think about is this flag that we'll die for. We'll die for it we'll die for the idea of this flag. We'll die for that flag on your shoulder. You're in a prisoner of war.
Na rybkę mnie stać, tak.
You survived to go home. And that flag you burned under duress that they're going to broadcast to the world, they're going to forgive you for it. You were made to do that. No one's going to think you hate your country now. Like, and I agree with that. I hope. That being said, that was a decision. I'm so glad.
Wołowinka,
I never had to make. The SERE school was good.
wybicki rosły,
It really showed you who you were
wybicki rośli,
as a person. It was really eye-opening into
rybka,
some of the horrors of war, some decisions that you
sałatka.
had to make. And I think part of that training and part of that, not saying special operations guys
I boczuś.
have PTSD, is such a
No i oliwa z oliwą.
preventing PTSD is telling you, hey, something bad may happen to you. You might want to go ahead and deal with it now. Because if you don't want to imagine the fact, deal with the fact that you have a dangerous job and that bad things are going to happen, when those bad things happen, it kind of breaks the mold of your mind. Makes your mind.
Na szczęście to, co lubisz, mnie w ogóle nie interesuje. Łukasz Cyrulewski.
Breaks your mind. Through the Q course and through SERE.
Co mnie obchodzi, co ty lubisz?
You're in SUT and you're carrying a fake casualty of your teammate and trying to run to a helicopter. That's actually sitting right there. Instructor's yelling at you, get him to the helicopter, get him to the helicopter. You don't get him to the helicopter, he's going to die. Get him in a helicopter. And then, of course, it's training, so the helicopter takes off. Even though you made it there in time, time magically got faster. Helicopter takes off right in front of you, and your instructor says you were too slow. Now he's dead, and you're going to carry him all the way back to base. And this is what happens when you don't meet the standard of combat. People die. And let me tell you, when I carried Chris Robinson's body to a helicopter,
Nie pamiętam ceny.
I didn't go, I never thought I'd carry a friend's dead body. I thought, this is exactly what they told me was going to happen. Yeah. This is what I thought it'd feel like. What they told me was going to happen. So, going through that type of training is important to not just toughen the body and learn the spirits, but to toughen the mind as well. To be prepared. Again, little did what we know was about to be the most extensive period of combat America's ever seen.
Man, that's fascinating.
Gdzie kupiłem? W Lidlu.
I guess just for some
W Lidlu.
context, because we didn't cover it. It's a school that they put you through when you're, in special operations or a pilot, somebody that's more susceptible to being a prisoner of war.
Yes, at the time that SERE, old information, that time was only open to
No rybka całkiem. Ja lubię śledzie.
160th pilots and crew members.
Okay.
were the only people. There, as always, I'm sure there was maybe a couple other exceptions, but generally speaking, that's what SERE was created for.
Yeah, so the mind games, I thought it was mostly just sort of a physical
Pozdrawiam.
beatdown, but the
Nis.
mind games is fascinating. But so yeah, jumping ahead, because I want to talk about something that you mentioned there. Your first combat deployment was Afghanistan in 2005, right after you get your Green Beret.
Yep.
And since you mentioned it, who was Chris? Who was he to you, and who was he as a man and as a soldier?
So, Chris Robinson.
Nie mam
I
dziewczyny.
was already alluded to. I was the only combo guy on my team, and the weight of being a new, non-combat proven Green Beret to a team that's already been to Afghanistan, probably had a much better combo guy than me before this trip, and I felt the weight of us going to these valleys and deserts and mountain ranges in Afghanistan and not being able to make combo scared me. It did. It scared me. Chris was the battalion senior combo guy for 220, for 2nd Battalion 20.
40 lat.
And during the train up, he would put on these, every now and then he'd bring all the combo guys together.
Prawie 41.
Or allow us to do combo exercises and just ensure that.
Nie mam dzieci.
That was his job. Well, I'd stay late after training, like Chris. The first time I met him, I'm an E5. It's my first trip. I'm the only combo guy on the team. Will you make sure that I don't fail my guys, basically? And Chris, he spent hours and hours and hours with me, just training, retraining, testing me, retesting me. At some point, like towards the end of it,
Siema Waldemarze, wspaniałe.
you're good. You're better than all the, because you stay so late and you work so hard at it. You're a better combo guy than all these other guys that have been there before. It's like, quit, you got it. Like, I'll stay with you as long as you want, but I'm convinced you'll be okay. And I don't know, man, that's just what I wanted to hear. I don't know, but I don't think anything. To be honest with you, nothing was going to make me feel better until I went to combat and I was in a valley 800 miles away from siege of soda and making comms, and I did it over and over and over again. And to be honest with you, even that, you're only as good as your last thing. So I don't. When it came to combo, I was never
Smakuje.
satisfied or like I got this. Combo always scared me because you can do everything right. You can do everything right and not make combo. Now I got more confidence in time. But in the day, I shouldn't say always. It always scared me. I always respected combo and always knew that I had to do my due diligence before going out the door to ensure that even though things may go wrong, even when you do everything right, that if they went wrong, it wasn't because of me.
Nic nie robię prócz jedzenia.
Best, compliments, that I've got was when, guys would talk about me as a combo guy. And don't get me wrong, I was not the.
No tutaj nie ma nic do robienia.
Know a lot of things, but everyone will agree. But if you need to make combo, Brent, I'll take Brent anywhere. Brent will make combo. Brent knows his job. And that was always important to me. But Chris was a battalion combo guy. When I left for Afghanistan and we went to go do our ODA's work, Chris was in, he was in Bagram. And so I never expected to see Chris again until the end of the deployment, because he was at a headquarters element. We're in Kandahar, and we're working directly with a 7th Group battalion down south, which was great. That was the hot spot in Afghanistan back then. It's where I wanted to be. Again, careful what you wish for. We were going to ramp ceremonies on a weekly basis, sending Green Berets home in body bags. And some of them were my Q course buddies. Some of them were my dive course. I went to dive school between the Q course and this.
Nie wiem,
One of them was
Waldemarze, czemu ci ludzie mi tak zazdroszczą?
and even though I may not have gone to their ramp ceremony at the chow hall, there would be a rotating picture of everyone who's died in Afghanistan to this point, and you just sit there and watch the TV screen, and sometimes you're like, oh, well, the key course for that guy. When did he die? I didn't even know he was dead. Like it got real. It got real. But we're going on this mission. There was a 20th group team was going to go in and take out this HVT by ground. That was their job in the mission, was to come in and I should misquote, not take them out. Not consolidate. Blocking positions. Their job was blocking positions and make sure no one came in, no one came out. And then my ODA and another ODA, 7th group ODA, were going to come in and Chinooks, and we were going to assault the HVT's compound.
HVT.
High value target. Yep. Things didn't go as planned. Bad weather came in, and we were using conventional Chinooks. And conventional Chinooks couldn't fly in the low loom night that we were looking to fly. They didn't have only the 1/6 can fly in that low loom night. So we pushed it right. The problem was they briefed that mission to ISAF and said, "Hey, this is a big mission. SF has going on." Well, ISAF has certain countries in there that we don't share everything to, and I'm gonna screw up this game of telephone. But we eventually found out what happened. They knew we were coming. They traced it back from that ISAF meeting, had this country in it, this country talks to that country talks to that country has relationships with the Taliban. Within 24 hours, the game of telephone went on, and had they know that we knew we were coming, they told us. We listened to them talking about it. And now it rolled over 24 hours, and we're getting ready to come in. We're getting updates saying, "Hey, I don't know how they know this. They know we're coming." And for some reason, we still launched. And we still launched. And the 20th group team that was there as blocking positions got into a nasty firefight as soon as they arrived at their blocking positions. I didn't know this, but the commo guy had gone home on leave, and Chris came to that ODA to fill in for the commo position while he was gone. So I had no idea that basically my commo mentor was down the ground in a turret. I saw it. We were circling helicopters waiting to land, and saw this nasty firefight going down. Like, man, those boys are getting it. I don't know, that was Chris down there fighting for his life. He takes a round to the side, through and through, rips him out of the turret. The type of gunshot wound that could have happened on a ER operating table, and you work in a stable. Chris dies immediately, and now the assault force is turned from to an assault force to a collection force, a rescue force. We were told a Green Beret was down. We go out there and get them. We go out there to recover it. And as I'm carrying them back, I'm like, "That's Chris. What is Chris doing?" Blew my mind. You know, I was told you, hey, the worst thing that can happen is to have your mind rattle, not be prepared for it. Like it wasn't that someone died. It was why was Chris here? Chris didn't belong here. What was Chris doing here? Like it shook me, and it ended up being
Na delegacji.
firefight. They were so well fortified. That was the only time we landed.
Nie chodzę do roboty.
The body, we circled around a couple more times. And the pilot said, "There's no way we can insert you guys. There's just no way to do it."
Po co mam do roboty
We
chodzić?
flew back to Kandahar, and felt like a massive, felt like a failure. I felt like we as Green Berets got kicked off a target, lost one of our own, and no one paid the price for it. Like it was. I don't think anyone talked the whole helicopter ride back. We all went back to cleaning weapons and cleaning everything and getting ready to go in case, and the hope that we're gonna go again here in just a little bit. And we redeemed it. And then we came back in and everyone felt the weight of that. Have a lot of good stories. I wish they were all good. But yeah, that's some of the reality of war that we don't always win. The good guys don't always win. Chris didn't do anything wrong, but you're playing a dangerous game.
No, lubię podróżować.
Or the enemy's good. A little bit of both. Sometimes the enemy's good, sometimes the enemy's lucky. But it doesn't matter how it hits. Either way, the result's the same.
So how did you, that was your first loss of a teammate.
Yeah.
How did you process losing teammates?
Ja robię lightowo.
Throughout your career.
People may not like the sound of this, may not sound great, but it works for me, and I think this is how most guys who successfully navigate this profession emotionally do it. You don't think about it.
Co to jest light? No to co oglądasz teraz, to jest light?
Psychologist, psychiatrist is out there. It's like, oh no, you gotta deal with your feelings. You need to talk about it. You're just a ticking time bomb if you don't talk about it. No, you don't. You don't deal with it. That's probably the wrong way to say it. I deal with it for about 24 hours. I don't do anything or say anything. I don't overly talk about it. If I don't have to in front of teammates, maybe we'll tell some funny stories. Maybe we'll take a couple drinks.
Mogę robić lighta?
If I can help it, I'll wait till I go to the shower by myself. I'll cry like a little baby. I'll pull myself together. I'll go right back in front of the men like it never happened. And the next day, you can't lament over it forever. He's gone. You can't change it. The only thing I can do is get home to my own family. The only thing I can do is make sure my teammates get home to their family. From then on, he's gone. Get your gear ready. Be better prepared. Make sure that never happens again. Go hit the gym a little harder. Make sure it's never.
Nie mam zwierzęcia.
That's how you cope with it.
Dużo mi płacą właśnie.
I'll go ahead and talk about it now. I think we've done a horrible job of dealing with PTSD and mental health, and because we've misdiagnosed it. We were losing 22 people a day to suicide. Yet we've cared more about suicide, we've cared more about mental health than ever, and it's in its worst.
Stać mnie na truskaweczki.
How can that be? That's an honest question. How can that be? The only way that can be is if we're not properly applying if we're not putting forth the proper solution, it'll give
W Szwajcarii mieszkam.
bad results. So we must be doing something wrong. And their answer solution was more safety briefs, more suicide prevention briefs. Talk to therapists more. Let's give you more access to therapists. And I'll talk about this unapologetically here. I mean, tell you what's crazy about a therapist. I've used this analogy before. Say you're a swimmer. You want to learn to be the best swimmer. And this person comes like, I'm going to teach you how to be the best swimmer. I can teach you about swimming. I can help you be better at swimming. It's my degree. It's my profession. This is what you should do. And I looked at you and said, have you never swam in the pool? Have you never experienced what it's like to swim? No, but I went to college for swimming. I have a college degree in the theories of swimming. Listen to me, I'll make you a better swimmer. Would anyone listen to that, coach? Take swimming out of it. Take anything. Swimming, football, swimming, gymnastics. I don't care, hacky sack. I don't care what it is. But when it comes to mental health, when it comes to the most fragile part of of the people who have given the most and seen the most and they're hurting, they're going to tell you what it's like to experience trauma. Who've never experienced trauma. They're going to tell you how to deal with life and death situations who've never dealt with a life and death situation. So when I tell you how I deal with it and how I successfully deal with it, I don't know, maybe I'm more of a subject matter expert than a therapist. And you can cut that into a short and make it sound really bad, but argue with me logically and reasonably why I'm wrong. And here's another
Bardzo
thing
dobre.
I don't want to accept. So they're going to say, so Brent, so just ignore it, go to work, and these suicides go away.
Nie umyłem truskawek.
Suicides aren't going away. Does it make it right? Does it feel any better?
Dobrze mówię po niemiecku.
Going to be a product of 20 years of war. If a guy wants to commit suicide, he's going to commit suicide. There's nothing you can do to stop him. If you don't like that answer, I don't like that answer. That's the answer you got. The only people who have a chance of stopping him are his closest friends and his friends who should have picked up the phone and said, hey, how you doing today?
Nie powiem nic po niemiecku.
Buddy Matt just committed suicide. He was a Marine Raider. He was an absolute hero, a dad, and a great man. I didn't pick up the phone enough to call Matt. Say, Matt, how you doing?
Siema Sumzoro.
No therapist was going to save Matt.
Kurde, nie wiem czy Waldemara nie zablokowałem.
No, we didn't save him. But
Nie wiem jak jest najładniejsze.
Matt gets a vote. Get a grown man. And we tell funny stories about Matt. There's a lot of funny stories we told about Matt. Talk about the good times of Matt. What a hero that guy was.
Rada najmądrzejsza.
Then we go back to work and we move forward for our lives. One of
Nie
the
mam.
analogies someone ever told me is you only got two options in life: 6 foot forward or 6 foot under. There's only two options you got. So I'll do 6 foot forward.
Thank you for sharing that about Chris and about Matt.
And not but before I'll say so when it comes to suicides, one of the biggest factors in suicides is drugs and alcohol.
Nie wiem jakie jest w Polsce najładniejsze.
And people don't want to talk about that. They don't want to, they don't want to,
Zależy od gustu.
side, of people's lives and personal lives. And I get that. I'm not calling anyone particular out and saying anyone's particular suicide was because of this, but more times than not, drugs, whether it be prescription drugs or alcohol or both, is involved. And let me tell you about the amount of times a year I get drunk. None if I can help it. I don't have more than 2 or 3 beers in any setting, any sitting that I have. Maybe it's a celebration where I let loose about it, but I never have enough where I lose the ability to physically defend
Dobra,
myself,
znalazłem.
to mentally.
To odblokowałem Waldemara.
2 or 3. Talk to the cops.
3 lata mieszkam w Szwajcarii.
Tell them, a situation was happening. 4, defend someone who needs defending. Those are all things that, and I know it sounds a little Captain America like cliche. Call whatever you want. There's no reason as a grown man with responsibilities in his life to get wasted and drunk and think he can perform his manly duties. And that's stop drinking and doing drugs.
Dobrze.
I personally
Nie narzekam.
am right there with you on that policy, and people can make their own decisions. I don't want to knock what other people do, but what I can say, and I'm pretty sure it's a fact, is that it doesn't help.
Funny you say that. I was a speaker at a conference, and the speaker before me was talking about he was nothing like me in some aspect. Like he was a great salesman. You can even call him a business weenie if you want. But the way he spoke just had me listening to him. And he was speaking unapologetically, which that was,
Zależy od gustu.
and he could have spoken of all things to talk about. He started talking about how he carries himself in an airport, and how he, and one of the things he said was,
Jednym będzie tu lepiej,
yeah, I don't drink.
innym będzie gdzie indziej lepiej.
I don't go that far with it. But he goes, I don't drink alcohol at all. I don't want anyone to ever drink, see me drinking and assume, oh, he drinks. So he stays far away from that perception. And that's fine. Don't get me wrong. Be on that side of it rather than the other side of it. And he said, but I do know this. I have plenty of friends who drink. I have plenty of friends who have been in some really bad times in their life. And I don't know one friend in the history of that ever told me the story said, you know what? Things weren't going good in life. Everything was just against me. I started drinking heavily. And you know what? Things kind of started getting better. And the more I drank, the better things got. Said no one ever. Tell me one story of adding alcohol to a situation didn't make it worse. So it's insanity that we fall back to that. I
Gdzie
understand
lepiej?
it. I'm not saying I don't understand it. I understand.
Zależy pod jakim względem.
We have to be mentally
Ze
strong
Szwajcarii.
as men to say no. We have to have friends there that are willing to stand up to another friend and be like, no, this isn't how we're going to handle this. I'm
Wszędzie są plusy i minusy. Są plusy dodatnie i minusy. Są minusy dodatnie i plusy ujemne. W każdym kraju.
In 05, right?
Yep.
What was going on in Afghanistan at the time? What were you guys doing there?
One of the things that made that time so hectic and so such a dangerous time in Afghanistan is they decided to do something about the drug money that the poppy fields were generating. And that was a tough decision to make for hires. And I'll be the first one to
Teraz będę robić.
second guessing.
Posprzątam ze stołu, pójdę się kąpać i spać.
I also have no problem telling hires, hey, this is why you get paid the big bucks. This is a hard decision to make. So essentially, they decided the British military is going to take care of the counter-drug side of the house, and the American military is going to take care of the counter-terrorism side of the house. Of course, it's never a completely clean.
A jeszcze witaminki.
Between that, because the terrorism is so deeply embedded with the drug money, and it funds a lot of the terrorism.
Jakie różnice?
That grew poppy seeds, or grew poppy plants.
Pierwsza, najważniejsza różnica między Polską a Szwajcarią to zarobki. Następną jest czas pracy na przykład. Więcej gór jest w Szwajcarii, nie ma morza. Na stałe mieszkam w Szwajcarii. Za ubezpieczenie się płaci samemu, nie odciągając wypłaty, tylko samemu trzeba płacić haracz na ubezpieczenie zdrowotne. Jest podatek drogowy w Szwajcarii, którego też samemu trzeba płacić. Wydaje mi się, że są ostrzejsze przepisy drogowe. Ale z drugiej strony, przynajmniej ja się z takimi ludźmi spotkałem, w pracy są bardziej mili ludzie. Przynajmniej do tej pory mam takie doświadczenie. Nie wynajmuję mieszkania, wynajmuję pokój w hotelu.
So your first mission was an eventful one. Can you tell that story?
Oh man, if they were all
Jeszcze się nie przeprowadziłem na mieszkanie.
It was a daytime raid, which was unique as well. It was a bad guy barbecue. Is basically what it was. An HVT.
Nie wiem, kiedy wracam do Polski.
He was at this barbecue.
Na pewno nie przez najbliższe 2 lata.
It was just a juicy target that we could have waited for nightfall.
Jeszcze z 2 lata na pewno będę w Szwajcarii. Znaczy, mówię takie minimum, nie?
you know,
a może i dłużej.
the battalion commander just couldn't turn it down. So he sent us on this daylight mission. Two ODAs, a minimal amount of Afghans with us, 4 or 5. I mean, almost no Afghans with us. Pretty unique at the time as well. Load up on Chinooks, daylight ready. Quick planning, out the door.
Jest jeszcze jakie różnice. Jest więcej takiego porządku w Szwajcarii. Wszystko jest uporządkowane. To się może podobać albo nie podobać. Ulice prawie zawsze posprzątane. Lecz nie zawsze. Czysto wszędzie. Kurde. Taki stały podział dnia, czego nie ma w Polsce raczej. Tu są 2 takie przerwy w ciągu dnia i w zasadzie wszyscy tak mają. O 9 jest tak zwane cnuni i to trwa 30 minut, taka przerwa. A później jest od 12 do 13 godzinna przerwa, taka obiadowa. I to wszyscy tak mają. Nie to, że ktoś tak ma, a ktoś nie ma. Wszyscy mają tak samo. To jest w Polsce czegoś takiego nie ma. Jedzenie dobre, no mięso jest dobre, bardzo dobrej jakości. Szczególnie od Bauerów, nie? W Szwajcarii mięso to jest... Hodowla krów jest bardzo taka starodawna. Krowy chodzą całe życie po górach, po Alpach. Są w ogóle chowane w Alpach głównie. No i mięso jest z tych krów zajebiste. To jest inna liga mięsa. W środku Szwajcarii mieszkam.
That would have meant I knew at least we landed in the right place, or I thought we landed in the right place. And,
w centrum Szwajcarii.
I should look left, and that should be where the village is, and the main compound will be a big building at the very, very left edge of this village. So all this is kind of playing throughout the process of my thoughts. But as I'm looking out, I feel like
jeszcze cynk se zapodamy, żeby się dobrze spało. Melatoninkę. Pinę ze skóra. Takie suplementy na dobry sen. GABA i głóg. Wyciąg z głogu na serce. Żeby mi serce nie siadło od tego, od tych lightów. They get even louder as they pitch the blades and they're coming in, for landing. It creates even more noise. They're loud as can be. So the guy in front of me, my senior 18 Charlie, also heard me and holds on. And we're the only 2 guys that apparently are tracking this and holding on. And everyone else is getting ready to run off the ramp. And we hit, and boy did we hit hard. We're the only ones that stayed on our feet, and even that almost ripped us off, the cargo nut. And now we're landed, and and birds on the ground, rotors are going, the ramp is down, and me and Bill look, and there's green berets all over the floor in front of us, and just a clear pathway, just me and him, the only one standing.
And even then, I was still an aggressive guy, and I said, "Go, go!" And I'm pushing him off.
Go,
and we literally
go.
step on everyone's heads on the way out of the bird, and now we are, me and Bill, we're the main element. Oh yeah, not. You talk about a dog chasing a car and catch. Like, what do we do? Like, sure. If you'd ask me, you want to leave this thing out? I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to leave this thing out. And now that I get a chance to lead it out, I'm like, hold on, I'm running, and I'm trying to get my bearing. I'm looking left. It's the first time it really, especially in hindsight, it hits you that you can study the aerial photography all you want, and it definitely helps. You get better at it as you go, but nothing looks the same on the ground as it does in overhead aerial photography. Like it's just
Ale
confusing.
pisze Tatr.
Luckily, this was it was a softball.
Nie wiem, to i to chyba ładne. W Tatrach nie byłem za dużo, także nie mogę się wypowiadać o Tatrach. Nie znam Tatr za bardzo. Już lepiej znam Alpy niż Tatry.
It was a lot further away than I thought it would be. Now sometimes that's because the bird doesn't land where it's supposed to be.
Wydaje mi się, że to i to ładne. Ja mam różne wykształcenie. Jestem pedagogikę z wychowaniem fizycznym skończyłem na Uniwersytecie Jana Długosza w Częstochowie. To mam magistra z tego tytułu. Nie choruję. Właśnie nie choruję w ogóle. Kurde, już chyba od ponad 3 lat nie byłem chory.
100% full sprint. Everything about you is loud, and you're not trying to be quiet. You're trying to be fast. And I do remember seeing little,
Odkąd zacząłem stosować dzieła, to nie choruję.
Just kind of jump up in the air around me. I'm going, that's weird. Wonder what that is. Like these are like split second.
A drugie wykształcenie, takie wcześniej co zdobyłem, to technik telekomunikacji ze szkoły średniej.
I'm getting action, daylight raid, Chinook, multi-ODA, first off the bird, taking fire,
A
and I'm like, yes.
W Szwajcarii aktualnie głównie to ciągnę druty.
So,
Nie palę.
Your sweet embrace war. And about this time, the Apaches are starting to that were there to both protect the infill of the Chinooks and now protect the assault force. They're starting to make their gun runs and get their bearings, and they're making gun runs on buildings. But as we were running towards the building, this Chinook is making a gun run basically on the other side of the village, but towards us. Not normally what you want, but this is the chaos of war. Like this is the truth. Like you can want a gun run to go left or right, as I'm going straight all day long. But no, you get the gun run you got, And if it would have taken them even longer to do a full turnaround to make a left and right, I wouldn't have wanted that. We wanted fire support. We wanted it right then. What was developing in front of us was not just the bad guy compound giving us fire. The whole village decided to come out and say hi to us with their machine guns. We had taken a heavy volume of fire, and we needed those Apaches to start asking them to stop with good old American missiles. A couple of them, unfortunately, went high. And this is the problem with not making gun runs at a 90 degree, is that when it went high to target, these rockets are coming straight at me and Bill. And I remember it, just like it was yesterday. It's almost like it almost looks like a video game, when you have like these missiles coming at you, and you start to think, man, this is kind of coming at us. And you're running straight to the cornfield, and you're looking up like those aren't coming at us, are they? They get closer and closer and closer. And, you and Bill basically dive out of the way for an Apache rocket to land in between you. And now as you're both getting up and you look over your shoulder to see if each other's okay, and you're covered in dirt, and it's almost that cliche. It's almost that moment in 300. Remember, they're hiding behind the shields and they start laughing like, we'll fight in the shade. Me and Bill getting our feet, and now we're just laughing, running to the compound because it's just crazy. Like you can't imagine this. You can't think it up. You know, here we are taking fire. Now we almost got hit by our own rocket. Now we're covered in dirt. The guys just fell, you know, on the helicopter behind us. It's just a circus, and enjoy the show. So we finally make it up to the compound, or the first ones to the compound. By this time, that jump for life from the rocket gave some guys some time to catch up with us. Now we're all really running together. Make entry. There were some close quarter kills in that compound. You know, really cool to see. That sounds weird, but you know, really cool to see that. You go through all this training, and now it's
Jaki był
it's real to be
powód
6 feet away from
wyjazdu do Szwajcarii? Jestem poszukiwany w Polsce. Nie chce mi się chodzić do niezawisłych polskich sądów i udowadniać niewinność. Dlatego jestem w Szwajcarii.
Because of, and ISR was watching it the whole time, and because of how lively the whole village got, the SODIF, the 7th Group Command, was like, hey, we want you guys to spend the night there. We want you to do a KLE, this is a key leader engagement, I want you to talk to that village tomorrow, and I want you to explain to them that this is not okay. We will come back and do this all over again as many times as it takes. You know, this is why we came here for this guy, and they were very aggressive.
Bo chciałem oddychać świeżym powietrzem. Za oddychanie świeżym powietrzem, można powiedzieć. Są w Polsce, którzy uważają, że oddychanie świeżym powietrzem jest nielegalne. A ja to czyniłem w Polsce.
Of 2, 3, 4 men crawling up to our positions. AC-130 would take them out. We'd go out there and do a BDA, a battle damage assessment of these dead bodies. You know, pull all their AKs off of them. You know, check for intel. You know, come back to the compound. Strong point in that compound again. The same compound we just took down. Now we're spending the night in. And you know, an hour later, hey, there's several people in trees now. There's some trees around the compound. They're trying to crawl up these trees. Looks like they got some sniper weapons. You know, cleared hot. You know, hey guys, hold on. AC-130's firing. You know, give it a second. You know, boom, 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 boom. You know, no one's moving. Okay, we'll go out there and you know, check that dead body. Just all night, just going out there checking dead bodies all night, checking dead bodies. It keeps you awake. Keeps you. It's just like coffee. And he did that all night. And I'll tell you, it was great to have the security blanket of the United States Air Force and an AC-130 Spectre gunship, and what it provides. Amazing technology, amazing crews, amazing capabilities. Kept us alive that night. Otherwise, things would have got really sporty that night. Wake up the next day, we start.
Gdzie tu widzisz swoją matkę?
You know, we're running across, you know, dead people again, you know, from the firefight the day before, dead women, dead, you know, other dead males, old dead guys, young dead guys. But I do remember stopping, looking at the dead female. She's in late 20s, early 30s. And I do remember thinking to myself, man, I didn't come here to kill women. Like, I came here to experience combat. That's the thing about combat. You know, you don't get to pick and choose, you know, who shoots at you. I didn't shoot at her, but it's not like I chose to not shoot at her. I don't remember seeing her, you know, during the
Ćwiczę samoobronę.
And I think Bill, same Bill that ran with me to the compound, I think is looking at me kind of struggling with this, like, you know, staring at a dead woman. and he comes in and goes, "Hey, man, nothing. She voted. She's here supporting the men. They're all passing ammo, back and forth. And they use the women to do it. And she made her choice, and this is the decision that this is the consequence of her choices. Don't look into it." And I took that advice. That's solid advice. That's solid advice. And I don't want to harp on this.
Chyba kończę tego lighta, bo
mental health professional probably
nie ma pytań.
We need to unpack this. We need to talk about this later and write an essay about it and tell me how it made you feel at the time. Really dig into this. Or you could just say what the fact of the matter was. She's a female, sure, she's a bad guy, acting like a bad guy, got bad guy results. And that was some of the best advice I got as an early Green Beret, stuff like that. Because I'd see a lot more of it and a lot worse of it, later on. And we're not the monsters some media would portray us to be. The American military does not target innocent women and children. But combat has consequences and whether they were part of the badness or not, you can't completely separate innocent civilians from armed conflict, especially when your enemy likes to hide in hospitals and hide in mosques and hide in families' houses. It becomes very complex and intricate and intertwined real quick. So that was only the beginning of, something I would see, but Bill's absolutely right in the advice he gave me. We ended up finding a lot more RPGs, ammo, guns throughout that village. We'd only begun to scratch the surface of what they were willing to, or could.
Ahoj.
So we took all that away from them. I was a junior guy at the time. I wasn't part of the KLE. I'm sure the 7th Group Commander, he was a company commander. That was
Nie wiem, czy byłem.
major that was in charge of the operation. I'm sure he had some choice words for the village elders at the time. We lit up on Chinooks and that was first combat. And like I said, I was now under impression that is combat. And every time you load a helicopter, get ready for a wild ride. And the other truth of combat is I hit a lot of dry holes. I hit a lot of we got the guy we were looking for a lot of times. He just decided to give up, and lie about what he did for a living rather than fight. There was definitely more of those targets in the future, but that wasn't the norm.
So, a couple things to unpack there. I guess going back to your point about you guys don't get to decide who picks up a gun, and it's either you or your buddy on your right or your buddy on your left.
Right.
So when you think, and you said, things got worse, and I'm sure we'll get into this when we talk about your time in Syria with the unit and ISIS. But what comes to mind when you think about doing things that may have gone against your own purpose? And how did you navigate those situations?
Nie, chyba już
I
nie.
was never asked to do anything that went against my moral compass. The only thing the military tells you to do
Takie mleko.
for
Bez laktozy.
requires of you.
Mleko bez laktozy.
But that's done at a high level. The military doesn't come down to you and be like, and you will come down here and kill women and kids while you clear this.
Kiedy następny light? Pewnie jutro.
To clear this objective, it is on the men of that unit to clear that objective in the way in which they see fit. So, they don't, hire doesn't get that granular with the planning. That happens at a lower unit level. So if people are doing things against their morals, or something that they didn't want to do, those type of commands or peer pressure is coming really from their peers or from the guys to the left or right of them. Ironically, that's the people you kind of have the most sway with and persuasion with, or can easily go above their head and say, this is what this guy's asking me to do, and immediately get it taken care of. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's never happened. And the American military is just an unblemished war machine. Unfortunately, there's been some things, but we were at war for 20 years. You don't think there's a couple bad apples of some guys that, you know, were in positions they shouldn't have been in? Of course. But I will say this. We are a virtuous, moral military as a whole. I can say that.
Dobra, jeszcze 9 minut i kończymy lighty.
Full confidence.
Ostatnia szansa na zadanie hardkorowego pytania.
And no one that can legitimately argue that to me. And I know. I've been there. I was there. I was on the ground. I was at the farthest tip of it. I know what the boys think and what the boys say, and you know what it is they're capable of or want to do. American military is a good military, and if we weren't, gosh, I don't want to jump ahead, but we'll just call it contracting work. I've been in Ukraine. I've seen what an unmoral military does to innocent people and to villages. I've seen war crimes. We're at the very forward edge of combat operations of Ukraine and Russia, and I'm for sure it was called Bucha. I traveled a lot in Ukraine. I don't remember all the.
But let's talk about the.
Regulaminowe. Kto te regulaminy tworzy? Ministerstwo Obrony i minister. To znaczy, że minister działa na szkodę tych żołnierzy. Państwo polskie jest państwem upadłym. Niemcy dokładnie robią 39. Wchodzą sobie jak chcą. To pan powiedział, że to jest szef MON-u. Nie, to jest pediatra, który spakował się pierwszy, jak tylko usłyszał, że jest zagrożenie.
Jak wakacje, ciulowo wakacje. Cały czas pada tu w Szwajcarii. No stop pada. Nie wiem po co być milionerem. Nie jestem milionerem.
Co my mamy? Mamy cyrk udawania. Kaganiec natychmiast został namorzony. Namordnik został namorzony.
Ciągle możemy wyjść z Unii Europejskiej, więc dopóki nie może wyjść z Unii Europejskiej, panie doktorze, to chyba
nie.
znaczy, że
Opowiada pan
suwerenność
dyrydymały totalne.
Wielka Brytania już wyszła.
Bo Wielka Brytania miała swoje instytucje w państwie nierozwydotane, miała Trybunał Konstytucyjny, miała Sąd Najwyższy, miała parlament, a u nas jest wszystko...
Co jakie miasto?
Wszystkie strony ze sobą się za łeb wzięły, nic nie ma formalnie, żadnej instytucji. Jedyną instytucją w państwie, którą jeszcze mamy, to jest prezydent, to jest Narodowy Bank Polski. To są dwie instytucje, które są instytucjami rzeczywistymi.
Co to znaczy pytanie, jakie miasto?
Bezpośrednio z wyboru, czyli Kancelaria Prezydenta i prezydent jako instytucja i Narodowy Bank Polski ustawowo i konstytucyjnie. Nikt na razie nie powiedział neo. Wszystko resztę, każda inna instytucja została rozbita. Politycy nie odpowiedzieli.
W środku Szwajcarii.
Nie powinni w ogóle podejmować, grają państwem, grają odpowiedzialnością. I teraz na pytanie pana, czy możemy wyjść? Nie, bo nie jesteśmy w stanie wyjść, dlatego że jakiekolwiek referendum w Polsce, które by dotyczyło wyjścia, zostanie zakwestionowane przez Komisję Europejską i będzie zakwestionowane
Niedaleko Brunnen.
wewnętrznych polityków, którzy powiedzą, że nie ma instytucji, która potwierdzi ważność tego referendum, bo w Polsce na wszystko się robi neo. Mamy neo-Sejm, mamy neo-premiera, mamy neo-rząd. Dlaczego tak twierdzą? No bo skoro jest
No to do Interlaken to mam daleko chyba, z 200 kilometrów.
Który potwierdza wybór Sejmu, to znaczy, że mamy neosejm, a skoro neosejm wybrał rząd, to znaczy, że mamy neorząd, to znaczy, że mamy neopremiera. Znaczy, nic nie istnieje w tym państwie, to państwo polskie jest państwem upadłym, więc proszę mi nie mówić, że można z czegokolwiek wyjść, z niczego. Jest zrobiony zamordyzm, nie ma możliwości żadnego działania, państwo nie istnieje, a dowodem na to jest to, że granice polskie na wschodzie i zachodzie są niebronione. Na zachodzie obce państwo wozi nam migrantów i ma w poważaniu nasze służby, wojsko, policję, nic. Niemcy dokładnie robią 39. Wchodzą sobie jak chcą. Po drugiej stronie mamy Białoruś, która robi z nami co chce z Rosjanami. Dlaczego? Dlatego, że polski żołnierz jest niewyposażony,
Se wpisz w internecie, to ci wyskoczy, Bruno.
niezabezpieczony, bez leków, bez amunicji, z zaklejonymi magazynkami. Nie ma możliwości strzelania. Jeszcze Rzecznik Praw...
Nad jeziorem 4 kantonów.
W telewizji słuchałem, Dyrdy mało opowiadał o prawach człowieka. A gdzie są moje prawa? Gdzie są pana prawa? Gdzie są nasze prawa konstytucji związane z bezpieczeństwem? To nie istnieje.
Ale jeżeli chodzi o granice, panie doktorze,
Już jedno słowo. Ci wszyscy ludzie, którzy nie podejmują decyzji. Minister, pediatra z plecakiem. Co to jest w ogóle? Gdzie jest minister obrony narodowej?
szefie MON-u, jak rozumiem, tak?
No nie wiem, no to pan powiedział, że to jest szef MON-u. Nie, to jest pediatra, który spakował się pierwszy, jak tylko usłyszał, że jest zagrożenie. I on twierdzi, że jest ministrem obrony narodowej. Minister obrony narodowej dzisiaj powinien pracować z generalicją, a generalicja, jeżeli ma w sobie honor, powinna wziąć odpowiedzialność za to, co się dzieje. A odpowiedzialność to jest stan wojny, a jest stan wojny, bo jeżeli ktoś ingeruje w terytorium Rzeczpospolitej, to znaczy, że mamy stan wojny. To nie może być tak, że człowiek niekompetentny, pediatra, który nie ma zielonego pojęcia o wojskowości, nie ma zielonego pojęcia, przy wielkim szacunku.
Tak, kanton Szwyc, no.
Nigdy nie powinien zostać ministrem obrony narodowej. My potrzebujemy ministra obrony narodowej, a nie ministra pediatry. Niech idzie sobie do Ministerstwa Zdrowia.
Jeżeli jest psychiatra, to może...
Mieliśmy psychiatrę. No właśnie nie możemy, panie rektorze, pan to bagatelizuje, a problem polega na tym, że państwo nie istnieje.
To jest cywilna kontrola nad wojskiem.
Ale
Nie
jaka
są
cywilna
wojskowi
kontrola?
szefami MON,
To
tylko
jest
na tym polega cywilna kontrola nad
knebel. Nie
wojskiem.
jest kontrola, to jest knebel i paraliż. Kontrola polega na tym, że żołnierze, dowódcy, generałowie podejmują decyzje, a kontrola weryfikuje, gdzie popełnili błąd. Problem polega na tym, że wszystkie błędy są importowane z Ministerstwa Obrony Narodowej, z decyzji lub braku decyzji ministra. Żołnierze są sparaliżowani, generałowie są sparaliżowani, generałowie są upolitycznieni, nic nie zrobią, bo oni wiedzą, że kolejne gwiazdki dostaną za podporządkowanie, a przysięgali na Rzeczpospolitą, przysięgali na to, że będą bronić Rzeczpospolitej. Jeżeli ja słyszę, że dowódca jakiejś jednostki jedzie z prawnikiem i psychologiem do żołnierzy, którzy są aresztowani, w ogóle to jest jakaś fikcja totalna. Ja jako generał odbiłbym swoich żołnierzy, powiedziałbym, co to jest w ogóle, jakim prawem. Jeżeli mam obowiązek bronić Rzeczpospolitej, mam obowiązek zapewnić bezpieczeństwo moim żołnierzom. Wie pan, panie rektorze, że dzisiaj żołnierze nieumundurowani, żołnierze nieusprzętowieni próbują zrobić zbiórki, te zbiórki są likwidowane,
Nie.
leków nie ma zabezpieczeń, jak ludzie coś dostarczają, to wszystko jest wyrzucane, niedostarczane, nawet bidony są niedostarczane ze zbiórki dla żołnierzy. Armia leży w rozsypce, wszystkie zapasy zostały przekazane Ukrainie. Dlaczego nie ma, przez ostatnie 2 lata widzimy, co się dzieje przy granicy, dlaczego nie ma zapasów strategicznych zapewnienia bezpieczeństwa żołnierzom? Lokalni ludzie wybudowali ochronę dla żołnierzy, budynki z drewna, po to, żeby nawet przed deszczem, przed słońcem się schować. To jest rozbierane.
Było to źle, żołnierze na pędce tam gdzieś budowali.
Oni twierdzą, ci generałowie i ci dowódcy twierdzą, że to jest nieregulaminowe. Kto te regulaminy tworzy? Ministerstwo Obrony i minister. To znaczy, że minister działa na szkodę tych żołnierzy i na nie zwiększa ich niebezpieczeństwo. Ja pytam się w tym zakresie, powiedział pan nadzór cywilny. Ten nadzór cywilny ma ich wspierać, a nie paraliżować. Ministerstwo Obrony od lat paraliżuje wojsko, a nie wspiera. Nie zapomnijmy o jakimkolwiek nadzorze.
Jeżeli chodzi o
To jest
sytuację
Trybunał Stanu, panie redaktorze.
wschodniej granicy dla, jak rozumiem, kierownictwa Ministerstwa Obrony Narodowej, zanim pana doktora, tak, Trybunał Stanu za to, co w ostatnim czasie dzieje się. Tylko, że tutaj chyba też można karmić dowódca Prawa i Sprawiedliwości.
Ale jasne, to kolejny
nie
minister obrony.
tymczasową sytuację zostawili na granicy, mimo że to trwało już 2 lata, to ciągnęło właśnie poziom tych szałasów i niedoposażonych żołnierzy.
Od wejścia nawet do Unii Europejskiej, 20 lat. Pamiętasz, co my mamy? Mamy cyrk udawania Ministerstwa Obrony Narodowej. Ci wszyscy ministrowie
Pozdrawiam.
stanu. Ta sytuacja, którą dzisiaj na granicy mamy, ona nie jest sytuacją z wczoraj. To jest ciąg zdarzeń. Ktoś rozwiązywał jednostki, ktoś demobilizował wojsko, ktoś wysprzedawał majątek, ktoś likwidował produkcję obronności w Polsce, ktoś, konkretne osoby. To nie jest abstrakcyjne, żeby sobie zdefiniować, konkretnie nazwać osobę. Co się dzieje przez ostatnie pół roku? Gdzie mamy uruchomienie produkcji amunicji do takiej skali, która jest niezbędna, żebyśmy wyposażyli żołnierzy? Amunicji nie ma.
Plany są póki co, jeżeli chodzi o amunicję, patrząc co dzieje się
planami, nie może się podeprzeć. Nic nie można zrobić. To jest w ogóle bzdury totalne. Jak ktoś jest mokry, to sobie może były twarz wytrzeć, bo mu krople spadły. Ludzie, o czym my w ogóle mówimy? My ciągle planujemy, a ci ludzie są narażeni. To, że zginął jeden czy drugi żołnierz, to jest w ogóle, to jest jeszcze nic. A po drugiej stronie...
No dobre pytanie.
Właśnie, panie doktorze, jeżeli chodzi o...
Nie wiem, chyba żyjemy po to, żeby się rozmnażać. Nie wiem. Jedni żyją, żeby przedłużyć gatunek, inni żyją, żeby zrobić coś niezwykłego. Nie wiem, napisać książki. Inni budują domy. Wydaje mi się, że tak dla jakby świata to nasze życie to nie ma zbyt dużego sensu. Każdy musi sobie sam znaleźć jakiś sens życia. Dla każdego powinien być inny, indywidualny. Dla jednego będzie ważna rodzina, dla innego filmiki na YouTubie, dla innego pieniądze, dla innego podróże. Ale tak ogólnie, po co żyją wszyscy ludzie na świecie, to nie wiem. Po prostu żyją, co chyba. Nie, wydaje mi się, że nie ma odpowiedzi na to pytanie. No przynajmniej ja nie znam odpowiedzi na takie pytanie. Nie robię salta. Kiedyś robiłem, ale już za stary jestem, żeby salta robić. Czy do wody mogę próbowałem w tamtym roku nawet zrobić salto, skacząc do basenu, ale za wolny jestem, już nie zrobię nawet pełnego salta. Gdzieś na plecy spadam. Jakie mam plany na jutro? Tyrać ponad siłę. Będę ciągnął druty jutro. 41 lat. Nie wiem nic o pracy. W Polsce nie pracowałem od 11. Nie wiem, prawie 15 lat nie pracowałem w Polsce, także nic nie sądzę o pracy w Polsce, bo nie wiem na czym polega praca w Polsce. Ale z tego co widzę po zarobkach, to nie chciałbym nigdy w Polsce pracować. Chyba, żebym miał lepszą płacę. Ale zarobki w Polsce mnie odstraszają od podjęcia pracy w Polsce. Polskie zarobki mnie przerażają. No chyba tak. No jakie mamy? Jaki sens ma dla całego świata życie jednostki? Kurde, żadne. Mówiłem, ciągnę druty w Szwajcarii. No tak. Każdy musi mieć jakiś cel w życiu. Na kanale. No, przepytują mnie. Ale Waldemara już odblokowałem, a go nie ma. Pewnie myśli, że jest zablokowana, a ja już go odblokowałem. Co myślisz o naszym rządzie? To samo myślę o naszym rządzie, co o każdym innym rządzie na świecie. Są tu pachołki, żeby wykonywać rozkazy ludzi u władzy. Wszystkie rządy na świecie są po to, są to aktorzy, którzy wykonują rozkazy największych korporacji na świecie, jak Vanguard czy takie rzeczy. Nieważne jaki jest rząd, każdy rząd wykonuje rozkazy wielkich korporacji na całym świecie. Taki biologiczny sens życia to jest, żeby przedłużyć gatunek, kopulację. Ciekawe, gdzie jest Waldemar. Pewnie się obraził, że go zablokowałem.
bezpieczeństwa
Jest
państwa.
taka sytuacja. Jedna rodzina została przywieziona
Pierwszy
też
ubolowanie
na moście.
Przecież ubolowanie było, tak?
No,
Król Europy
słyszeliśmy, że przepraszam, miał
kontaktował się z
odpowiedź,
dowódcami swoimi przełożonymi w Niemczech i co się dowiedział? Że ubolewanie jest. W wyniku tego ubolewania mam następny.
No nie wiem, jakie są zarobki w Polsce. Mówiłem, że od 15 lat nie pracuję w Polsce, także nie wiem, jakie są zarobki w Polsce. Ale w każdym razie nie zachęcają mnie te zarobki do pracowania w Polsce. Nie chodzę na siłownię i nie stosuję używek. Jakie są zarobki w Polsce? Bo nie. No to dobrze, to chwała wszystkim Polakom, niech pracują. Niech zarabiają miliony. Rak.
Zdarzenie. No ja rozmawiałem z Czesławem Rożkiem, wiceszefem MSWiA w ostatni piątek, mówił, że ta druga sytuacja to jego zdaniem już wszystko w porządku, bo Niemcy mogą nie wpuścić po prostu tych
Oczywiście, że
obywateli do siebie i to jest taki pushback. I
Oczywiście,
to tłumaczy.
ja tłumaczę to pełnym prawem Niemców do wszystkiego. Ja uważam, że powinniśmy jeszcze podziękować. Ja uważam, że powinniśmy w ogóle nasze samochody. Po co? To jest w ogóle straszne, bo Niemcy muszą swoje paliwo wydawać na to, swoich żołnierzy, swoich policjantów. Ja uważam, że polska policja powinna pojechać i odebrać migrantów. Śmieje się pan?
No śmieję się, bo to jest ironia, panie.
Jaka ironia?
Więc się śmieją.
Czeka pan na
Jest
to?
poważnie.
Gdzie to jest ironia? Za pół roku pan będzie dokładnie to widział. Autobusy będą jeździć, bo Niemcy każą zabrać. Ale będziemy to
A
finansować.
może teraz przejdzie na większą skalę niż ta, o której wiemy? To
Że skala jest w ogóle nieistotna. Nawet jedno takie zdarzenie, które pokazuje poniżenie Rzeczpospolitej i nieistnienie władzy, która jest w stanie... Jeżeli władza,
Król.
prezydent, ministrowie nie wykonują swojej funkcji obrony Rzeczpospolitej i zapewnienia bezpieczeństwa, jeżeli inna nacja, inne państwo może narzucić nam własne reguły, państwa nie ma. Jest kolonia. To do kolonii się wysyła ludzi, jak się chce. I wskazuje, co mają zrobić, co kolonia ma zrobić. No to dowiadujemy się. Co jest ciekawe, nawet Polacy zaczęli interpretować coś na korzyść Niemców. To jest ciekawe.
to powinniśmy kontrolę przywrócić na granicach polsko-niemieckich. No one są, Niemcy
Wyobraźmy sobie, panie rektorze, odwrotną sytuację. Wyobraźmy sobie odwrotną sytuację. Zamieńmy miejscami na mapie Niemcy i Polskę.
No zdaję sobie sprawę, że tak, to
Wtedy
wtedy takie oburzenie byłoby dużo większe. Sprawdzają kontrolę, myślę, że sprawdzają kontrolę. No.
Wojsko na granicy stoi. Bezwzględnie. Polska jest w tym momencie oskarżona do Trybunału Europejskiego, ale Trybunał Europejski nakłada kary na Polskę za każdy dzień kilka milionów euro za doprowadzenie do normalności relacji między Niemcami a Polakami. Ze względu na to, że jesteśmy wewnątrz Unii Europejskiej. Mamy zasady europejskie, to tak by było. Kaganiec natychmiast został namorzony, namornik został namorzony.
Dobra, kończę lajta. Trzymajcie się.